Hi people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she, her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recently video. But before we get into the books, please don't forget to be donating to Palestine because that is very, very important right now. The Palestinians deserve freedom and they've been fighting for it for so long and they need our help because they can't do it alone. So keep up the good fight, maintain it, and keep your foot on the gas. So yeah, please continue to donate because it's so important right now. So yeah, anyway, the first book on this list is called Hazel Bly in the Deep Blue Sea. I have been saying Hazel Bly in the Deep Blue Sea just because it rhymes with sea, but it's probably really pronounced Bly. Anyway, this book is middle-aged contemporary and it follows Hazel Bly, who's a young sapphic girl, and she's navigating grief, trauma, and friendship. This book is so good. I rated it 5 stars because I absolutely loved it. This book is absolutely so good. First of all, Hazel is such a wonderful character and I love her. I was so emotionally connected to her from the very beginning and I was so emotionally invested in everything that was happening. I loved her so much. I love her literally so much. This is by far my favorite book by Ashely Blake so far. I love this book so much. I definitely prefer it to The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James and Ivy Aberdeen, which says a lot because those two books are also amazing, but this book is literally incredible. I loved it so much. The plot was so intriguing. All the characters were all so well developed and distinct. The sapphic romance was so lovely and so wonderful. Her love interest is non-binary. We love to see it. I also liked Hazel's anxiety representation. We love to see it. Every single element of the story was incredible, and also it made me cry 4 times. So we love to fucking see it. This book is so good. It is so good and it is so incredible. And with that, I highly recommend it, clearly, because like I said before, I love this book so much and I rated it 5 stars. So yeah, there you have it. The next book on this list is called How to Become a Planet. This book is also middle-aged contemporary and follows a young girl named Pluto who's been struggling with her depression and her anxiety, which feels like a very big black hole. This book is so good. I rated it 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. First of all, Pluto is such a wonderful, well-developed, distinct, well-rounded character, and I just really felt for her. You know what I mean? Like, I was so emotionally attached to her. I was so emotionally invested in everything that was happening. Second of all, I love her mental health representation. It felt so realistic and well researched and just so well done. We love to see it. Third of all, the sapphic romance was so lovely and well developed. Like Hazel Bly, her love interest in this book was also non-binary. We love to see it. This book is so good. It's absolutely so good. I would say personally that this is probably my favorite book by this author. I think I've read one book by her previously. I don't really remember what it's called. Maybe it's called Hurricane Summer. Anyway, this book was so good. It definitely exceeded my somewhat lower expectations. Anyway, this book is so good. I keep saying that over and over again because this book was absolutely so good. It was so lovely and it was so wonderful. And like I said, I rated it 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. So with that, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Pumpkin by Julie Murphy. This book is a YA contemporary and follows an openly gay, fat teen who's leaving high school with a bang. He uses the word fat in his story, which is why I'm using it instead of using the word plus size. But anyway, I enjoyed this book. I liked it. I liked the main character as a whole because I was just really attached to him as a person and I really enjoyed his relationships, but especially his friendships within his family. Like, he's a twin and his relationship with his twin sister was wholesome and it was so lovely, and I love that his parents supported him. Like, we love to see it. We love to see supportive parents which by the way is so rare to see in YA contemporary and honestly in real life, but that's not the point. The point is that I liked this book. I ended up rating it 3 stars because the plot was intriguing, I liked him as a character, we love to see it. However, as for the romance, I didn't really like it that much, and I wish that they got more development together as an established couple. I feel like that they became canon, and then 10 pages later, the book ended. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like we needed to see more time of them together as a couple, because there was so much build-up leading up to it, and then the ending happened pretty quickly afterwards. You know, so for me, the ending felt kind of anticlimactic in that aspect, although I felt like all the other storylines and stuff like that were pretty wrapped up. So only the romance wasn't really wrapped up. So yeah, even though they did get together, but they just didn't spend a lot of time together as a couple. Like, I understand that his romance wasn't the main focus of the story. I just wish that it had been given a little bit more development of them actually together. I don't know if that makes any sense, but essentially, I liked this book. Comparing it to the other books in this series, I would say that Dumplin is the best book in this series, and then this one would be second, and Pudding would be last. So yeah, will I be reading more books in this series if Julie Murphy writes more books in this series? Probably not, but I will be continuing to be reading more books by this author in general. You know what I mean? So anyway, I rated this book 3 stars. The next book on this list is called Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating. This book is YA contemporary and follows a pair of girls who start to fake date because one of the girls comes out to her friends as bisexual, and they tell her that she can't really be bisexual because she's never dated a girl before. So she tells them that she's dating this other girl, which, by the way, is so invalidating. And when your bisexual friend comes out to you, obviously you shouldn't tell them that they're not really bisexual. That's so stupid. Anyway, so yeah, there's a trigger warning on this story for biphobia as well as racism and toxic friendships. So basically, I liked this book, but I didn't absolutely love it. I liked the 2 characters individually because they were so different from each other. So they were both distinct, well-developed characters. And I also liked the discussion of racism and toxic friendships because I can kind of relate to those 2 things in a way. However, since these characters were both vastly different, I didn't really see any chemistry between them, so I didn't really ship them. And honestly, I kind of preferred their fake relationship before their real relationship, if that makes any sense. So I didn't really ship them. I didn't really see any real chemistry between them. However, I will say that I preferred this book to the Henna Wars, which is the author's previous book that she wrote last year, but like not by much. Will I read more books by this author? I will be reading her next book because I believe her next book comes out next year and is a YA sapphic historical fiction book that's about set in the Titanic or something. I don't know much about it, but Goodreads says that it's a sapphic heist on the Titanic, which is all I need to know. But honestly, if her next book was another YA contemporary, I probably wouldn't consider picking it up. You know what I mean? But I love to see more sapphic historical fiction books, so I'm excited to read her next book. But anyway, I rated this book 3 stars because overall I was kind of disappointed by it and I didn't really care for the romance. So yeah, there's that. The next book on this list is called Not My Problem. This book is another YA contemporary, and it follows a young lesbian who tries to fix other people's problems, which is a push to fix her own. I know that synopsis is very, very vague, but honestly, this book disappointed me. So I don't really want to go into more details as to what this book is about, because I don't really want to sell it to you. Because honestly, I don't recommend this book, because even though the writing was intriguing because the plot was intriguing and the world building was pretty easy to visualize, and the main character was a well-developed, distinct, three-dimensional character, and I understand why other readers are more emotionally attached to her. I wasn't really. You know what I mean? Like, I was more interested in what was happening than who it was happening to, necessarily. And also, the romance felt so underdeveloped. It almost felt like it was supposed to be an insta-love romance. I just never understood when her love interest liked her back. You know what I mean? Like, I understand when she started to like her love interest, but I didn't understand when it started to be reciprocated. So for a while, it felt kind of one-sided. You know, so that was kind of disappointing. And also, again, this book ended before they spent some time as a couple. You know, so that was fun. So overall, I ended up rating this story 3 stars. I will probably be reading more books by this author in the future because I really enjoyed the Falling in Love montage last year. So that book is definitely superior to this book because this book was really more of a disappointment. And like I said, I rated it 3 stars. So yeah, there's that. Another book, another disappointment. So in conclusion, first of all, please donate to Palestine because the Palestinians deserve freedom. Second of all, I don't know if you noticed, but I talked about these books from best to worst because coincidentally, that's just how I read them. So my favorite book on this list is definitely, without a doubt, Hazel Bly in the Deep Blue Sea. That book was one of my most anticipated 2021 releases, and I'm so happy that it lived up to my expectations. But anyway, my least favorite book on this list was Not My Problem. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the bat emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!